For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Another 4 Palestinians have starved to death in Gaza, including a child, according to health officials. This brings the starvation death toll to 435, including 147 children. Wafa News Agency is reporting 79 deaths in Gaza in the last 24 hours by Israel's airstrikes and ground offensive. It includes 9 people seeking humanitarian aid. This brings a total number of aid seekers killed in Gaza to 1,060, with at least 7,200 others wounded. This comes as Israel continues its ground and aerial assault of Gaza City, amounting to a demolition. It's the word Israel's finance minister used Wednesday at an event in Tel Aviv, where Bezalel Smotrich said there's a business deal for a real estate bonanza in Gaza. That's on U.S. President Donald Trump's desk, now that the demolition phase is done.
There is a business plan set by the most professional people out there, and it's on President Trump's table now. And this thing turns into a real estate bonanza. I'm not kidding, it pays off. So we need to divide how we make a percentage on the land marketing later in Gaza. We've done the demolition phase, which is always the first phase of urban renewal. Now we need to build. It is much cheaper.
Spain, which has sanctioned Smotrich, barring him from the country over statements about Palestinians, says it will investigate human rights violations in Gaza as part of cooperation with the International Criminal Court, the ICC. Last year, it issued arrest warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. President Donald Trump is meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer on the final day of his visit to the UK. The two leaders signed a major tech investment. They're also expected to discuss steel tariffs and the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. Some 3,000 protesters rallied in London Wednesday against Trump's visits. Here's some of their voices.
You know, he's obviously looking to become the US dictator.
It bothers me so much that Trump calling himself a peacekeeper, and actually he's the very opposite.
The AI tech deal comes as Trump is aligning with the tech industry. A report from the Associated Press last week found much of China's surveillance state comes from American tech companies like IBM. President Donald Trump says he plans to designate Antifa as a major terrorist organization. Antifa is short for anti-fascists. It's an umbrella term for groups that organize against fascists and neo-Nazis. Trump made a similar threat in his previous administration. Mass protests are hitting France with transport strikes, demonstrations, and blockades targeting the Paris metro and other sectors against President Emmanuel Macron's plans to cut funding for public services. The cuts aimed at reducing France's massive deficit have triggered the collapse of previous governments. Fired Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Chief Susan Monarez warned the Senate Health Panel Wednesday that America's public health care system is headed to a dangerous place under Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his anti-vaccine advisors. Christopher Martinez reports.
Microbiologist and immunologist Susan Monarez was fired from her position as head of the CDC after just 29 days on the job. Now she's firing back, warning that the U.S. is headed backwards on vaccine policy. She took aim at Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
He directed me to commit in advance to approving every ACIP recommendation, regardless of the scientific evidence. He also directed me to dismiss career officials responsible for vaccine policy without cause. He said if I was unwilling to do both, I should resign.
During the course of the 3-hour hearing, Monarez warned that the country's public health system is headed to a dangerous place under Secretary Kennedy, and she warned that infectious diseases like polio could be poised to make a devastating comeback if the health secretary and his team continue their public campaign against routine shots. Republican Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, chair of the Health Committee, seemed to agree.
If doctors do not have clear guidance or have a reason to distrust what's coming out of the CDC, they cannot make informed decisions to protect their patients. Children, and I would say adults' health is at risk.
I'm Christopher Martinez.
Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr.'s new Vaccine Advisory Committee set to meet for a 2-day session to weigh the future of vaccines for COVID-19, hepatitis B, and chickenpox. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.